Good evening, Oregon Trail Council. Welcome to our Fireside Chat for the 30th of July. With us tonight, well, he was with us tonight, is our good friend Jim Smith out of the Cascade District. Jim has a unique perspective on schools and what they expect to do this next year and how that might relate to Boy Scouts. We're trying to get Jim back on. We've got a technical difficulty here, but he'll be with us again pretty shortly. And meanwhile, we can hear from our Scout executive, and he can tell us all about the local council and the national side of scouting. Scott McGovern.
Okay, just a couple of things really today. Again, just want to remind everybody our virtual day camp is coming up soon. You can go on to our website, www.otcbsa.org, and register for that. It's our first opportunity to do this, but I think we've got some great people involved, and it's going to be a great program for everybody. So again, I encourage you to go take a look on that. I would tell you that a small group of people were out at Camp Baker today, and since I've been here, I have not seen camp look better than it does right now. It looks fantastic, and as we've talked about in past meetings, we've got some great things that are going to be happening out there soon with a new shower house, a new health lodge, and some other things that are able to come from that as well. So great opportunity to go and see it on a beautiful summer day. The thing, and Jim Wiley would agree with me on this, the thing that was missing today, middle of the week, summer, and we didn't have any scouts on the property. That was the biggest problem. But
and it was wonderful, I might add.
That's called curmudgeon.
No.
But I will tell you, one of the things we have opened up for Camp Bakers, we've talked about, all of our camps are now open for use. And I just want to remind everybody, if you're going to utilize one of our camps, we want you to turn to us a plan on how you're going to meet the state guidelines. That is primarily so that we know that you have looked at the state guidelines and you know what the state guidelines are. It's up to you, if you go out there, to follow those state guidelines. And I will tell you that looking at Facebook, social media around the country, there's a lot of posts that are being put on these social media sites where we're not social distancing and we're not wearing masks. And please, please protect yourselves, protect our scouts. If you're out there scouting, and we want you to be out there scouting, please make sure that you're following the state guidelines and protecting your scouts and protecting yourselves as well. So I will mention that. But again, we want you to be out there and enjoying scouting. It's a great opportunity. It's great weather. I will tell you, and Jim, I don't know if you experienced it, but we had to make a short stop on our way back from Camp Baker today in Florence. It was, I think it was 100. The thermometer on my car said when I got back. When I left Florence, it was 65 degrees. So, you know, a little bit of a change there. But just
move to the coast.
Pardon?
Time to move to the coast.
Yeah, it was probably in the 70s while we were out there, but fog bank rolled through and it kind of cooled things off. But it was kind of refreshing, actually. Meant that there was another reason, because of that cold weather, there was another reason we didn't have to you know, stop for that ice cream. We didn't need the ice cream, but trying to think what else we've got out there. You know, I know a lot of districts and the Order of the Arrow have some events that are coming up, and we continue to take a look and see what's happening. We continue to take a look as far as the social, or as far as the state guidelines, and see what those are, and continue to make decisions about whether we can move forward with that activity, or if we might have to make some adjustments to the program. You know, we've got, we actually have a I think, plans for a great auction on September 18th that we're going to do virtually. I just got an email recently from Lane County Sheriff, and he offered himself and one of his deputies to come in and do a video for us. A lot of people don't know about the Exploring program. The Lane County Sheriff and his deputy both got their start in law enforcement through the Exploring program. And one of the great things about his deputy is his deputy not only started his law enforcement career in Exploring, but he's also an Eagle Scout. So we think that's we'll have some great videos, and we think that's gonna be a great event. You know, unfortunately this year we can't have it in person. We're gonna do it a little bit differently. So we continue to look at those things and adjust our program to make sure that our scouts and our families' protections and safety is first and foremost, and then we go from there. So I think that's primarily all I can think of at this point, Randy, and I'll go ahead and turn time back over to you.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate the update. It's useful for all of us. Jim, you're back with us here. Are you ready and able and all that kind of stuff?
Sure, I'm ready.
All right. My dear friend Jim from the Cascade District. Jim's a longtime scouter, and I like him because he's ex-military. Besides that, he does great things for the current youth as well. Jim, take it away. Tell us who you are and what your perspective is.
Well, I'm Unit Commissioner Jim Smith, and I'm also the Marcola School District Board Chairman, re-elected a couple of weeks ago. I've had 5 years as the chair, 4 years until I ran in term limits and our chair passed away, and I'm the chair again. And we just went through 22 applicants looking for a new superintendent. So our perspective all this last week was we were getting ready to open school in person and then move to a hybrid distance learning plan. And that all changed with the governor's information that she came out with, the matrix that she applied. So districts, as they say, the state says we're responsible for deciding which plan, but then the matrix only gives us one choice. There's only one county in the state of Oregon with a population of 1,150 in their school district that will be doing in-person school in September at this point. Lane County is not one of them. The rest of the state. So as of Tuesday, it become quickly distance learning. And it's been a steep curve for many schools. Ours was running about 4 years ahead when COVID-19 hit in March. So my perspective for Boy Scouts, you know, a week or so ago with 4J and some of the other schools announcing their plan, Springfield, I would have said facilities would be used and Scouts could use facilities. This week, what I'm saying is if there's no schools, mostly in the state of Oregon, and it's all distance learning, there's not going to be any physical meetings. So Scouts, Boy Scouts need to start looking at alternative place other than schools. I think you can still have meetings under the group of the governor's mandate of small groups less than 10, larger groups less than 100, because Lane County is in phase 2, but it's going to be hard pressed to get into schools, which again is the opposite of what I would have said a week or two ago. So there needs, the governor, and one of the matrix that she put out is the school the counties needed to have less than 10 people per 100,000, less than 5%. The state is at 4.8 right now on COVID, and you know, Lane County, we need to be around 40, and I believe right now we're in the I have those figures in front of me. I visited their site today, and they are probably Lane County COVID since last week. They've had 49 new cases. So 49 new cases, and we can't be above 40. And right now they have over 100. So with total cases of over 300. So again, we're going to be hard pressed. The governor did come out with $28 million to use for technology upgrade, which will help school districts for kids that don't have internet or families that have weak internet connection. And for us in Marcola, we have a seismic grant, and we are doing a $2.5 million CTE building, which we think is good for our school district. But that's kind of where we are. Our plan for developing was scheduled the 31st of July. And last Sunday, after 4J released their plan in Springfield and some of the other schools around Eugene, then our community started getting a little impatient, and I told the superintendent we need to get ahead of this and communicate, put out our timetable. So the deadline for all schools to have their plan in is in the 15th of August. That means, where previously would have gone through our health authority for each county to ODE, to the school boards, and then to ODE. Right now, that's still going through the health authorities, but to ODE, understanding that most of the rest of us are just doing distance.
ODE is Department of Education.
Oregon Department of Education.
Okay.
Colt Gill.
Yeah.
And Colt Gill was part of Tuesday's meeting with the governor, and a question was asked, do we have to follow the governor's mandate? And she turned that over to Colt Gill to answer, and the answer was yes. So for all schools.
Smart guy.
I like how she didn't answer that. She had him answer it. So it's mandatory for us. So I guess, for us, it's our teachers were excited, looking to go back to school to teach in person. And the governor recognizes that it's hard to teach numbers and reading to grades kindergarten through third. And so she's allowed some allowances for that, where 30 cases per 100,000. And, there's a possibility that, COVID might go down, and we will see some of the younger children in schools physically spread out 35 square feet per child, 6 feet apart, 3 feet on the bus. But it's going to be limited to those. And space-wise, in Marcola, our high school would have had done AB. I think most schools across the country neither have the time or the funding to build facilities where they can achieve the 35 square foot per student. And for employees, they increased that to 70 square feet. So most schools would have had to do what, if they had opened, and some of them, it's possible after distance learning, once they meet the governor's requirement on matrix, they may be able to open. But right now, we're quite a ways from being able to do that, and so is most people in Oregon. Monongalia County has over 400 cases, and they need to be down around 76. Lane County at 40.
So we're, smart money then says that we have to figure out from a scouting standpoint how to work within the boundaries here, because
right.
It's not like there's not going to be any facilities available to us for the near term.
Right. And for the last many months since March, we own a farm, and the farmer was the owner that we bought it from says, I'd like to see more kids farming. Well, it's difficult. It's possible in the summer, but it's impossible when the state says no kids on the school grounds.
Yeah.
No kids on the school grounds. That means all groups. That means sports, scouts, everyone. So 2 weeks ago, I would have said there was a meeting place for PAC 450. Right now, we're going to have to find an alternate place.
Scott?
Jim, I have a question for you. In addition to meeting locations, you've been involved in scouting, you've been involved with school district. What are your thoughts? I have some personal thoughts, but what are your thoughts about our best methods of, typically the start of school in September is our best time to go out and recruit new youth into scouting. So what are your thoughts about maybe some best options given what we know now of going out and recruiting new youth into the program?
Well, I think you have a virtual program for many of your scouts that needs to improve. But my school district, I suppose I know there was difficulty with Springfield, but we wouldn't have a problem putting advertisements on, allowing access to groups. If a group wanted to meet outside or meet virtually on our school grounds, we would allow them to use the internet. So outside meetings for a while is one option. Wherever finding someone in the community, such as a church or Lions Club or the Grange, to allow a meeting place. So out here, we have that possibility for 450. Where 2 weeks ago, I would have said, if you've got schools that were open, check with your athletic director and sign the waiver form and abide to follow the state guidelines on meetings, and you'd be good. But that's not the case today.
So you think like having those outside activities, a unit meeting, a pack meeting, a troop meeting, or whatever, some kind of event, and then scouts inviting their friends is probably our best way of getting the word out?
Yes. In my area, we have the BLM Shotgun Park, which is always available. Veterans are taking care of that park as park caretakers. One of them from the 101st Airborne that I have a relationship with. So, arranging a meeting place, the Grange, the Lions recently offered a partnership to the Boy Scouts. I don't know if we pursued that, but they are still willing to do that. We have those options out here. I would suggest that those same organizations are in other places as well, and maybe reach out to them and see if you can arrange those meeting places. We have 5 churches in Marcola. My place is big enough for a Cub Scouts. There's 7.5 acres here, big backyard. So I would talk to Richard Davey, and I know for us out here, there's options to work around.
So,
Any other questions?
Rush?
so Jim,
Rush Hogue. Glad to see you, Rush.
yeah, Jim. Say, Jim, so what I'm understanding is we're in phase 2, which allows a meeting of up to 100 outside with social distancing and masks
That's correct.
and did allow a meeting inside of up to 50, except that that's now limited in the sense that the current policy is no more than 10 at an inside meeting unless it's a business or a church, and that some churches are interpreting the rule to mean a church service, so that if it's not a church service, they're limiting indoor meetings to not more than 10 with distancing and masks. So it seems like for other than a small unit with few adult leaders attending, the option right now is the outdoor meeting. And that works until it gets too rainy, too cold, and too dark.
Yeah, down to about Halloween.
Yeah, but what you're saying is if you can find a location like Shotgun Creek Park where they have 2 large picnic shelters with fireplaces, we're scouts, we can go there, be undercover, build a campfire in the fireplace. But if you take like Shotgun Creek Park, last time I was out there, it closes at dusk, for example.
9 o'clock.
Pardon me?
9 o'clock p.m.
9 o'clock, all year round.
All year.
So for you, a place like that covered picnic shelter, that's still considered outside, I assume. So that's an option. I don't know how far that is from you. So, but what we really need to do is
That's 3 miles from me and 5 miles from Marcola.
Right. So what we really need to do, I think, is to identify these outside venues where scouts could meet, even if it's raining or snowing, so to speak, and have a reasonable meeting, around the campfire that's in a sheltered but outdoor area. Just a
Yes.
thought. Possibly we can assemble a list or get it out there without making ourselves unwelcome by using it too much.
Right. And in Marcola itself, there's Lee Downing VFW or Lee Downing Park, which is managed by both Lions and which is Scout Friendly, offering the partnership. And then and the VFW, which is obviously Scout Friendly, and I'm a trustee there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a meeting place there that's potential, and across the street is a community center. A couple miles down the road is the Grange. A few miles beyond that is Shotgun Park and me. So we have options out here if leaders have the will, and I would suggest you do that. And Richard we can put out that he has meetings, that he has the Scout Roundup planned. We can get that on our schedule, make sure everybody is aware of it, and the kids are aware of it. And we will probably start. We have 4 that's leaving this summer, and we'll probably start with 10 kids out here.
Sure.
In the pack.
Right. So, I'm just brainstorming here with you, but it seems to me if, each district tried to assemble a list, I don't know what the council thinks. But for example, the covered walkway up to the service center, with council permission, you could probably have a winter meeting with everybody bringing their camp chairs, and have a campfire that's powered by propane, one of those round campfires, and kind of make it fun.
Yes.
Yeah, and there are places like that here and there around some of the communities. I'm thinking about the basketball courts down Washington Jefferson Street Bridge in Eugene, as a for instance. And I think there's a covered skate park in Eugene somewhere. So I think the idea, Rush, is pretty sound to try to look across our communities and see what we can find from an outdoor venue that would still serve our kids through the winter months. Jim Wiley, what do you think down there? Any places come to mind that could be used in Roseburg?
Well, there's Stewart Park where they have meetings on the half shell. It's got a big covered area.
You're right.
Gaddis Park, which is the baseball fields, it has a covered area. Quite a few parks in that too. So with large covered areas. And we have to remember that 80% of scouting is outing, and we can just change that to outdoors.
And we're scouting in Oregon. Now, if we were from, Arizona or Santa Barbara area, someplace like that, you always cancel an event or an activity if it's raining, but we're a little bit tougher than that. So we can handle it here.
Yeah, the good news is we're not in Montana.
Yeah. Or Fairbanks.
Well, I'm being cut off.
Yeah, Jim, it looks like you're having some technical difficulties out there.
I'm still here.
There you go. Very good. Yeah, I appreciate the comments, Rush, Jim, and the other Jim as well. What do the rest of us think? There are some local areas that we could suggest to our scout leaders here and there to get involved, take the kids outdoors during these months.
During these months, I know if I was Brent, where I'd be. You got plenty of room out on the beach, don't you?
Yeah, it never rains in the winter out there. Very good. Who are we losing here? I don't know.
Okay.
We got a good.
Maybe Mount Pisgah, they've got a large barn out there. Doris Ranch also has, I believe, a covered shelter at it for Springfield area. So those are a couple of ideas.
And one other thought that I was having, Randy, is, I know Roseburg area, you've got Roseburg Lumber as well as Stewart Park. Out here, we have Weyerhaeuser and Bureau of Land Management. Roseburg, you've got some scout camps out there at 10-mile area. And up here, we have local ones as well that are a little further. But you might want to reach out to Weyerhaeuser, Bureau of Land Management. You can use that. There's summer fire restrictions, but you might want to look at those.
Yeah, that's good. Certainly good suggestion.
I don't know how much of that you heard, but approaching Weyerhaeuser and Roseburg Lumber that owns property for partnerships.
Yeah,
Around Shotgun Park, there is Weyerhaeuser and BLM. And we do Cub Scout hikes out at there. It's about a 2-mile, 3-mile, could be longer hike in that area.
Yeah. Hey, Phil Ermer had posed a question for the group that if sports are banned from schools, would the BSA really be okay? Anybody have any opinions, thoughts about that?
Jim, I thought you kind of talked about that. It's really not going to probably happen at this point, right?
Right. And one of the things we found out in June, we don't follow the state guidelines. One, it's an insurance issue. And secondly, it's OSHA and also the superintendents found out they could be sued.
Yeah, it's a liability.
So if you had a COVID case, it's a liability.
Yeah.
So when they mean no kids on school grounds, the only kids we had was one by one coming out of their cars for graduation. And that parade was a hit, requested by the community again. So, there's that consideration. We just can't let kids on the school grounds when the state says your school is closed.
Yeah, so we're really talking about kids on school grounds, not necessarily in the facility. But actually, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Just wanted to be real clear about that.
To
Very
put
good.
it in perspective, I couldn't have school board meetings there, Randy.
Yeah.
I was doing 3 virtual, or 3 physically and 2 virtual, and then I was told that I had violated the governor's meeting order. And after I ran it through legal at Oregon School Board Association, they come back, I had not, and I look back in March and April, and Oregon School Board Association was doing the same thing, some virtual and some physical.
Yep. Jim Wiley had a question.
Well, I was thinking about meetings, and if we're in areas where we might have to share a location, I think it's really important that troops get together physically, that they follow the distancing, and that the leaders implement that. We've got to lead by example. But if you had to go to every other week on a meeting, it would still be the quality of the meeting could be there. Plan them well, make these things count. That's how we're going to retain kids. And we'll lose some, like we've lost Christian, but yeah. But that's my 2 cents worth.
I see it the same. We need to, Troop 179 is doing a great job, but we have others that are not meeting at all. And some typically don't do much in the summer, and the PACs don't do much in the summer. I'm concerned about losing members.
It's going to be hard to re-engage all of those kids, those youth. Yeah, I agree. But I think Jim's right in that I think we could do, every other week. Maybe one week you do virtual, another one you do an in-person meeting. I think that would probably work.
51 is doing that now. They went from not having meetings to virtual, and now they're back to physical meetings, and they're doing merit badges online, virtually.
Yeah, Troop 2 in Benton is doing, is alternating, one virtual one week and then one outing the next week. And the PLC is absolutely all over getting those set up. So the kids are engaged, at least in that unit.
Yeah, so good units have reached out to figure out how to work this thing. To keep the kids engaged.
They're actually having more fun than they did before.
And I actually think a lot of our troops are out there and being a little more active now. I do believe that. I worry about the Cub Scout level.
Yeah.
And there's ways that we can work around that. I mean, we're, you know, in the dens, we're talking about smaller numbers anyway. So we could do some of those activities outside.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, for next week, we won't be meeting, but it'll be the week after. And we wanted to introduce everybody to our new council training chair. That's Mark Sandiford. So he'll be with us 2 weeks out at our fireside chat. And then beyond that, we're looking at the potential for exploring Wood Badge, fundraising, and see if we can continue to move ourselves forward into this next year. Any other comments for the group here? We're at the top of the hour. Promise to hold the meetings tight. Christian.
If any of your DEs need a Cub Scout to ask for a check, just send them my number. I'll make some phone calls.
Okay. Okay.
No. He's mine. He's mine. Just calling it.
No, it's fair game. Fair game.
You keep telling me that, Randy. I don't know about you.
You can't have everybody.
I just want what's mine. I don't want the rest of them.
Good heavens to Murgatroyd. Okay. Anything else for the good of the order here? Appreciate the comments tonight.
I want to add one thing, Randy.
Please.
I was looking at a Fish and Wildlife report, and it says that, and I know Weyerhaeuser sold out in 6 minutes, so I didn't get my Weyerhaeuser permit this year. They say that there is 10 times the people in outdoors, in parks, etc. So outdoors for the Boy Scouts is an attraction for recruiting.
Yeah.
Those kids that have been home for 3 months are looking to get out and do things, and that can be a draw.
I've been talking recently with the Willamette National Forest people, and Jim, they said the same thing, that there's just amazing numbers out there.
Yeah. Usually it takes days for those permits. In fact, a couple of years, people were angry that they started charging, Weyerhaeuser started charging $325 for recreation permits. But this year, 6 minutes and they were gone. I have one down around Cottage Grove.
Very good. Anything else for the group here? Good comments. Don't want to cut anybody off.
I was going to let you know that Amy and I are going to do a hike with ours. They have a frisbee golf area, which is around the library here in Toledo. And so we're going to do like individuals with the parents, and we're going to do like a little hike. I think we have a couple of the Lions right now that will be doing that. And then we're going to set up a small little obstacle course that they can go through. I picked up some hula hoops. There were some cones. This was all at the Dollar Tree, which was amazing to find all this.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be doing that next week. And so we've already contacted the parents, and we're going to have it set up so each area, they're going to have, you know, their 6 foot distance and everything else. We told them that, you know, masks will be required. So some of the parents have picked up those face shields because some of the kids have a hard time wearing masks. And so, yeah, we're pretty excited to see how this will go and turn out.
Yeah, that sounds great. It's all good suggestions. Appreciate you doing that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, it's 7:05. Thanks for attending. We'll see you in about 2 more weeks. Thanks so much. Scout on.
Thank you all.